I want to share with you this concept. Actually, this sliding talk's got a message. It's much more than the actual content. It's about, you can use the framework, you can use the tool, but if you really want to become a better JavaScript developer, I highly encourage you to take it a step further. Peek into the source code because you want to learn stuff about JavaScript. And the best way to learn the good stuff about JavaScript is to look into frameworks, because behind those frameworks there are really, really smart people who build something that all of us can use. So I built a playground, and I want to talk with you. It's going to take like, I don't know, 10 minutes or so about those subjects: freeze, seal, symbol, and friends, just without the friends. So I want to share with you my playground. When I want to play with the actual framework and peek into the source code, I just, simple HTML file. I grab the React development and React DOM development, just download them just extract them from the node modules, and basically that's it, an empty JavaScript file. And if I want to render something to the screen, it's let's try to do this. App component. Don't need to export everything. No JSX. No imports. Very simple and straightforward. So it's going to be React create element. Let's create a title. Thank you. Yeah. All right. And then we need React DOM. Render. Let's render it to the screen. Let's take our app. Put the music on. Thank you. Yeah. I can't talk and code, I'm a man. You're laughing. But that's the truth. Hopefully I didn't forget. Why? Why, how, and where? What did I miss? Component is not defined. Of course it's not defined. All right, makes sense? Yeah, I think so. All right, so this is my playground, and the reason that I'm putting together this project, because now it's very, very easy, just to command click and see what's actually going on. So I want to talk about some stuff. Let's start with this React create element. All right. So React create element, what it does. If you do something like this, let's save the element for a second and return the element. So we can just log it. We find out that React create element got nothing to do with the DOM. It's just returning a simple JavaScript object, and that's it. Actually, if you go into React source code, which is not that long, a lot of comments. That's the reason you've got 1,000 lines. But if you strip all the comments, if you look at the minified version, it's literally nothing. And if you search for things, I don't know, like document. I don't think you can see my search. Or document, you won't find it. Yeah, of course. You won't find any document. You won't find anything that got to do with DOM, with the browser. Because React as a library is just a library for creating dynamic trees. The whole virtual DOM is just a nested object, which is cool. So who's responsible for actually taking this object and make it a DOM element? React DOM, exactly. So this is where the magic happens. This is the method that knows how to take a simple object and convert it into a DOM element, a real DOM element. And the reason for this is that if React is just a library for building nested objects, it's very easy to create your own renderers. This is how React Native works. You can create React PDF render, whatever. Write a function that knows how to take an object and output something else out of it. Cool? All right. So this is just for a starter. So if React create element, and we can look for it at the source code, we can go to React element, and where are you? Too many comments. Here it is. You see this? React element, an object. You've got a type of, we're going to talk about it. And then you've got some properties, and that's it. And you're returning the element. All right? So if React element is just a plain JavaScript object, I can do something like this. Element, and then let's do something with it. Let's add a name. Let's add my name. Make sense? Yeah? And then I got this exception. Object is not extensible. Why? Because is, give you a hint, Madonna is frozen, right? Great album. I don't hear it, but yeah, it's frozen, which means that if I try to do something like this, object is frozen. Let's see where it is. Oh, I get nothing. Yeah, I need to start with this, right? Then I've got true. How many of you familiar with object.freeze? Not too much, which is not good. Let's talk about it, all right? Let's talk about React. What's going to happen now? Let's say that I'm going to create another component, title. And title going to accept title as props. And we're just going to React. Actually, I can take this one. React create element. And right here, instead of this, puts the title. Make sense? Cool. And here, I'm going to create element. But this element, let's just return React create element and just render the title and pass some props like title, hello. Make sense? Make sense?
Return.
Excuse me?
You should return that.
Oh, it's a render, yeah. Too much beers. All right? And we've got hello. Cool? Nice. Let's do this. Let's create a constructor. Yeah, let's call the super. Props right here. This state title gonna be playground, and here I'm gonna pass yeah, I'm gonna pass this state title. If you see a mistake, please correct me. All right, cool. Simple, straightforward, but I wanna do this. And let's pass all the props object. And let's do this. All right, still working. And now what's gonna happen now? I'm gonna take the props and just add something to the props. Let's add my name. Because props is just an object, yeah? And right here, props, my name. What's gonna happen? I don't know, maybe. Nothing. Silence. Let's peek into the source code. Let's go to create element from React development. This is all the public API of React. This is the object to get exported. So you can write here, you can, right? And for example, let's go here to component. Actually, we don't really care about component. We care about React element or create element. All right, and look at this line. Object freeze element props and object freeze element. So this object freeze, it's a very powerful method from JavaScript object prototype, because it's enabled you to freeze an object in a way that you can extend it and you can change it. So for example, if you've got some code and you just created this object, and you rely that this object got this name property, and you want to make true, because JavaScript is a dynamic language, so everyone can just do this: delete info.name, and then if I try to look the info, right, I've got nothing, empty object, but I want to protect it, so I can call object freeze. And then you can touch it. You can touch me. It's a famous song and a dance. All right, cool. But what if I want to be able to change the name? I want to be able to do this. Info.name equals someone else, Josh. All right, but the object is freezed. So I don't want you to be able to delete name. I want name to be exist, but I want you to be able to change the name, change the value, but don't mess with the structure. So instead of freeze, I can use seal. And when you're sealing an object, it means that you can't add properties, you can delete properties, but you can change the values. And this is interesting. I'm thinking about React. Actually, I'm lying. I'm thinking about my beer and where I left it. But if we think about React, let's talk about refs. Let's go here, right here. Let's take the title back. We don't need this. Let's return a title. Just this state title, yeah? We okay? What? Where? Return. Return. This is how you write code in Canada. You always do twice return. I didn't. All right. Let's talk about refs. Let's say that you want to take a ref to this object. So I want to do this. Ref equals this title ref. And here we're going to create a ref. This title ref equals to an object. We've got current, which is an object. And let's take the component did mount and try to log this title ref. What's going to happen? What is this method? What is React create ref? Because this is how you actually create reference in React. You familiar with this? When you want to create reference, now in React, create ref, and that's it. So if you pick into create ref, you find something very interesting. It's just create an object and seal this object. So you've got a real use case of using seal. For example, you want to lock your object to an interface. In this example, I want to make sure you've got current, it's sealed. You can't add stuff, you can't remove it, but you can assign any reference you like, all right? And those gloves are for you, all right? Because if you want to get deep into React source code, You're gonna, I mean, the real reason is that my keyboard is a mess, so you don't want to touch it like with bare hands. So let's look at another nice feature, and then talk about life and fruits. Fruits are important for your health. So why are you laughing? All right. Look, if you go up the source code, up the stream, which most of the source code, sometimes we're afraid of the source code because, you know, it's the source code. But React, specifically, it's plain JavaScript. So if you play with it, if you actually look at the source code, you can learn a lot of cool JavaScript stuff. Let's talk about this. Those lines. I've got here a bunch of constants. React element type. And has symbol, yes, no. If it doesn't have a symbol, symbol for React element. So what is symbol? Symbol is part of JavaScript. Symbol enables you to create a unique key for something. And I want to show you a cool trick. Let's say that you've got a class. Let's call this class. All right, so we've got this class fruit, and it's just JavaScript. So let's say that I've got this method print, and this method actually prints something, print fruit. And here I'm going to create an instance of fruit. What? Where? Where? Const. Yes. Yep. All right. And then let's call the print. Make sense? All right. And it's just JavaScript, which means that we can't protect this method. It can't be a private method. I mean, yes, I can create a function and a closure and return another function and just hide it in the closure. So we've got some patterns and tricks that we can hide this variable, but we don't want to use it because we've got this nice class syntax. So why should I use a function that return a function, hold this, whatever, all right? Let's say I want to protect this method. So what can I do? I can create a constant, but I can use symbol. Can give it a description that's not mandatory, doesn't really matter. And now I've got this print, and this print is a unique symbol, which means that I'm going to use another cool feature of JavaScript. In JavaScript, you can calculate your method names. So I can do this. And if I want to call this method, I can use this key. All right? And it's working. It's right here. You see it's working. So what's the deal? What's the thing? Why does it useful? If you don't have this constant, you can't call this method. So if from another file I'm just exporting the class, but I don't give you this symbol, you don't have the key. You can access this variable, this function, this whatever. Let's see some more practical example, all right? So let's say you're building a library like React. And as we saw before, we've got this React element. React element right here, right? So it's just a JavaScript object, which means that maybe I can create an object by myself, and then instead of calling React element, I can just use this object. It's just JavaScript. But in React, they want a safe way to check that this object is a valid React element. So you see here this type of, you've got a type of which point to a symbol. So if you don't have this symbol, you can reference this. But inside the source code, you've got a reference to the symbol. So this way, you created a private key, so you can check against it. Make sense? So if you're building a library, if you're building a framework, if you're building a tool, if you're building something that you want other people to use, and you want to protect your code, and it's just JavaScript, those techniques, this API can really help you. And it's not like super sophisticated. I'm going to answer in a second. It's not like super sophisticated. It's just plain JavaScript. You can find it in the doc. If this is going to be a replacement for a closure, no. Closure is a completely different feature.
But I'm saying, can you believe where you use a
if you use closure just for hiding properties, so yes, you can use simple. But closure got a lot of other benefits and it's completely different. But yes, if you use closure or any other those kind of patterns, or just for hiding or protecting your file, use symbols instead. All right? Cool. Last quick line of code, and then we summarize. All right, back to React. So we've got this React create element, we've got ref, title ref, we've got this state title, but what I want to do, I want to create another React element. So I'm going to do this, and here inside, this can be null. This is just properties. And right here inside, I'm going to create another React element with h1 with this title. And right here, I'm going to create another React element, which is a button. And I'm registering the onClick. And I can call this change title right here. And I've got, well, let's call it click. Let's implement this method. But not here, let's do it here. Change title. And we're going to change the title right here, right? No worries about it. React on development, blah, 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 done nesting. I made a mistake. Where? Where? Why? Yes, thanks. Yeah. But then I need to give it a key. Yeah. Each child is given a key. Yep, let's give it a key. All right, I think we're good. Almost. Line 21, create element h1. Line 21. Yep, div, sorry. That was my intention. Believe me. All right, so we've got this one. Actually, by doing this without JS6, I think it's a great exercise. But if you really want to know what's going on, here you've got like a real life coding of someone like very tired. And again, we can learn a lot. You can help me fix this code because you'll understand everything that you're saying. It's not hiding behind JS6, so it's just plain JavaScript. You can instantly spot the problems. You should try it. You should take an Angular. Sorry, was a mistake. All right, I didn't say Angular. You can take a React component written with JSX, and just for the fun of it and for the learning experience, try to drop the JSX and use plain JavaScript. And then everything becomes very, very clear. Then you can understand the scope and why when I try to call this doesn't work, and props are just objects, and everything becomes very clear, all right? But let's change. Let's finish this light talk with this line of code. This set state, and let's set the title to new title. It's going to work. Yep. Cool. And here I'm going to log this state. So on line 18, I'm going to see state with a new title. Yes? No? Who thinks I'm going to see it? Be careful, I'm dangerous. Right. And why not? Why does this method is asynchronous? Actually, if I'm going to write this code, this updater enqueue set state updater. Yeah? We got it? I think so. Is this going to work? What the Firefox just happened? I used the F word, all right? Uncutter cannot print mode. I've got a typo. This update, I can see the reason. I don't know what is this, I think. I'm just too tired for this. Let's do this. I'm not sure that's the problem, actually. Almost. Cannot read property mode of undefined. All right. I messed up with the live coding. That's happened. Let's give it a last try, and then we drop it. Yeah. Sad music, please. Dramatic sad music. We're gonna give it a last chance. Actually, I wanna start with just checking if I got this strange thing, this updater. No, it's no. Yeah. Excuse me? That makes sense. Hey, and I've got this updater. Interesting. Where did it came from? And I've got this in-queue set state. I just forgot the API for this, which happens. So let's go back to the final example and do this in-queue this state, but I'm gonna pass myself, and then I'm gonna pass an object with title, which is gonna point to new title. And let's give it a last try. And it works, which is interesting. Where does this updater came from? I don't know. But the name of the method is telling us something in queue set state. So there is a certain queue. And I'm going to pass like an object to a queue. And if there is a queue, someone going to call. Someone going to run. Something going to operate on this queue. Make sense? Yeah. All right. So we looked at create element. We understand it's just an element. We learned some cool stuff about object freeze and object seal. We did some live coding, real live coding. No templates, real life, errors, mistake, like the way we love it. All right. But we learned that if we're gonna play with React without JSX, we can actually understand what's going on. And we learned about symbols. So in just 10 minutes with this like light live coding and a nice conversation, we actually, most of us, just learn few. How many of you learn something new today about JavaScript just from these 10 minutes? And that's the message of this talk, guys, all right? You can use React for years, but React gives you an opportunity to understand JavaScript better. So take this opportunity, create yourself a playground. All you need is a laptop, a web storm, a set of gloves, all right? And that's it, if you've got like a dirty keyboard like mine. Yeah, all right? So, all right. Let's summarize. Oh, and we've got this enqueue set state. All right. If you like this, we've got community-oriented workshops. And the next one is going to be at September 10. And for 2 hours, I'm going to live code React clone from scratch. So we're going to implement our own React from nothing, all right? It's going to be very interesting. When I say community-oriented, I mean it's like $10, and you're going to learn a lot of stuff. So check it out. It's on meetup.com. And if you find it interesting, just come on, all right? It's going to be, I think, the third time we're going to do it. I promise you that you're going to learn a lot about how things work under the hood, all right? We don't try to make money. For each one who's paying for this conference, we're going to help people with PHP. I want to just finish by to thank my mother who's watching this live stream, which is probably the only one who watched this live stream. How many people have got on this live stream? 3, including my mother, 0. She just dropped. This is a random mother. Yeah, this is not my mother. All right. If you want to follow me, this is my Twitter handle. I'm gonna stay here. So if you want to hang out, ask questions, or whatever, you're welcome. Thank you very much for your time and attention.